This is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and today we're going to look at Amazon's new high-end e-ink reader. This is the Kindle Voyage. Now they have good, better, best. This would obviously be the best because it's the $199 model with a new e-ink display at 300 ppi. Is it sharper? Yes, it is. We're going to look at it now. So it's e-ink ebook reader day here at Mobile Tech Review, and we've got the new Kindle Voyage here. This is a $199 6-inch e-ink reader. It uses the new Carta e-ink technology, or relatively new. It has side lighting, although interesting how you call it side lighting when there's no more bezel anymore for the lights to actually real obviously shine up on it. It's a touch screen as well, and now it has an ambient light sensor, something that I've always wanted, so you don't have to keep going to the little light bulb menu here and manually adjusting brightness, though you can do so if you want. And it's got a clever little nighttime mode as well, where you can have that turned on. And so say you go into a darker room, it gradually dims the brightness. So number one, know your eyes are not failing you if you see that, but that's good because sometimes it takes a while for your eyes to adjust, so you don't want an abrupt change. You know how it is on your laptop when it does that. It's like, what's going on? It's a little hard to see for a while. That's the idea behind it. It's also Amazon's thinnest and lightest Kindle yet, 7.6 millimeters, 6.3 ounces. Not that Kindles were particularly heavy to start with. I mean, they've been quite light and quite petite, but very easy to hold, obviously. So it's $199, a little pricey for an e-ink reader. I mean, Amazon has really, by selling these likely at a loss for years, just so they can get you into buying into their huge book ecosystem, they've really dropped the price on these. Now, back in 2010, Sony was the big game in town with their PRS e-ink readers, and routinely those were about $250. So that's how times have changed, where now something like the very most basic Kindle that we have right here sells for less than $100. You can get the Paperwhite as a step up, which we also have over here that adds backlighting for $119. So is this a hard sell? I don't think so. The interesting thing about this guy is that when it went up for order, it was pretty quickly back ordered for a month. So it looks like, last I looked, you have to wait till around Thanksgiving to actually get one of these. So clearly there are still people who want dedicated readers. Right there is an advertisement. This is what Kindle does with their readers and with their Fire tablets too. So no surprise there. You got to pay an extra $20 if you don't want to see an ad on the sleep screen, and on the home screen a little bottom banner ad as well. For 20 bucks, I can live with it, but that's up to you. Notice no bezel. That's kind of nice. Until you actually use one without a bezel, then you don't realize how much you actually kind of enjoy that. No little shadowing from the bezel sticking up. Smoother for page turns. For those of you who like to swipe, you can still do the swiping page turns or the tapping page turns, but also new, a little hard to see there, but there's a line here and then a dot here where you've got actual squeezy page turn buttons, and you can set the sensitivity. By default, it's set at medium, and it takes a pretty deliberate press, so accidentally tapping over here isn't going to do something. You really have to kind of squeeze on it, and you get a little haptic feedback. Bottom one's for page forward, upper one for page back, and they're on both sides. So if you're left-handed or you're right-handed, either way, it's good for you. Nice touch there. So the real selling point with this is, well, Amazon's ecosystem, and I think that most of you are pretty aware of that already. They are the gorilla in the market with the absolute huge bookstore, generally speaking, some of the lowest prices. There's a library rental system, Amazon's own. You can use the public library with this. You can use Amazon's own lending library if you're a Prime member. And now they even have a monthly book subscription kind of club that you can buy into if you want to do that. You can still sideload books. This still uses Amazon's own proprietary Mobi and Amazon file formats, but if those of you who use Calibre know you can convert back and forth if you happen to have some EPUBs. This does not natively do EPUB still. The UI here is pretty much the same as it's been on other recent Kindles. Not much has changed there, so we're not going to spend a whole lot of time investigating it. This is your home screen right here. Here's some of your books. Here are some books that they're suggesting that you might want to buy. There's the little banner ad that you can get rid of for $20. Up here is your navigation. Pretty simple. You got a home button, you got your back button. This controls the backlighting right there, and you can see we have auto brightness actually turned on right now. It does quite a good job, generally speaking. I think most people are going to leave it on auto brightness setting. Got all the gradations here. It is a little bit brighter than the Paperwhite that sells again for $119. You got your shopping there if you want to go to Amazon store. We have search, and we have Goodreads integration for those of you who are into Goodreads. There's also Facebook integration in this too. And if you want to get to settings, you tap right here. We got the vocabulary builder. So words that you've looked up, it saves so you can review that list again. We've got the experimental web browser, which really, gosh, I don't think anybody ever uses because e-ink pages refresh kind of slowly. It's a little bit of a painful experience, but you can do that. By the way, the $199 price is for the Wi-Fi only model. If you want this with 3G, and that's going to be on AT&T, that's $269. And that's there primarily so you can download books and magazines when you're on the go. It's not meant to turn this into some full-fledged web browsing, email getting tablet. There is no email on this. In fact, even though they did things like bring back the page turn buttons that we used to have on the e-readers of old, no speakers on here, no headphone jack. It is a silent product meant for reading. And that's the whole thing with this product. It is a reader's product. For those of you who really enjoy reading, and I know you're out there, and you don't want a multi-purpose tablet, but you do spend some good quality time every day with the book, you don't want to be disturbed. You don't want this thing bing-bonging at you and telling you about email and your latest Facebook friends updates and all that kind of thing. You just want something that's real easy on the eyes with long battery life. Well, this is your product. The display has, there's still a little bit of glare. It's etched glass to give it a matte finish. Compared to an LCD tablet, it's nothing. Really, really non-glare. Here it is with the basic Kindle again, so you can see the difference in text. Obviously, slight difference in point sizes there, and even this one can reflect a little bit. No backlighting on the basic Kindle, the cheapest Kindle, so important difference there. Unless you're the old-fashioned kind of reader who's used to sitting down with a print book and making sure you've got a lamp shining on it, the original, basic, cheap Kindle here, that's you're going to have to do. You're going to have to use a lamp. This one here, you can use in any kind of lighting since it has backlighting. This guy is chunkier, thicker, heavier. They're going to make things prettier as you go up in price. And this is the Kindle Paperwhite. Again, a little bit of glare there if you try to angle it and such. Backlighting as well, not quite as bright as the Voyage. It's pretty good though, no ambient light sensor on the Kindle Paperwhite either. It does get a more svelte design. It's a little bit lighter, it's a little bit nicer looking than the basic Kindle, so that's what you're getting for your extra money. For those of you who are everyday readers and you're not looking for the Cadillac of readers, I think the Paperwhite is still a great choice because that backlighting is really key. It has a pleasing e-ink display, but the difference is pixel density. Right here we have 300 ppi. That happens to be the same as a laser printer, the ideal laser printer output from years ago and still today. And that's kind of important because that's what we judge as something that looks sharp. And this guy, closer to 200 ppi pixel density. Can you see the difference? Yes, you can. I am one of those people that's an avid reader. I read every single day. And one thing about the Paperwhite is, as I look at it, I can actually see a little jaggies on the text. I've always noticed, and I wish it could be as sharp as LCD tablets and smartphones on the market. Those keep getting sharper and sharper. Never thrilled me. Now, when I look at the Voyage, even using a smaller font like that, it's just very sharp, very nice, even easier on the eyes. A little bit whiter on the background. The backlighting is a bit more even too. So, again, if you spend a lot of time reading and you want the nicest kind of looks like a printed book experience, this is going to be it. And the other good thing about this is, I know some people argue about this, but the overall belief and my belief is that LCDs are tiring on the eyes. The backlighting is a bit tiring, and they say it can even interfere with your sleep patterns if you stare at a backlit LCD just before you go to bed. Much more restful, easy on the eyes. I can read on this without my eyes getting bleary and teary till the cows come home. So there's the selling point. In terms of styling, well, it's distinctly Amazon. They kind of like this angular thing going on here. So we have one glossy top kind of edge. It's almost like a prismatic design here. And then bevels over here. And they've moved the power button to the back. I'm not super thrilled with it. It's depressed a little bit. You can feel it. I find myself every time turning it around to look for that power button. But it's no less fiddly than the other Kindle models where the button is on the bottom and kind of hard to press because they don't want you to hit it accidentally. It is what it is. Now, it turns itself off for power saving anyway, so the only time you're going to have to hit the power button is to turn it on. We have our micro USB 2.0 port right here, so you can actually copy your own content if you want to the Kindle, and you can back up stuff that's on the Kindle as well. And other than that, not very techy, not very computery product. Obviously, the viewing angles on this are quite good. And the nice thing about these is they're completely viewable outdoors. That's the nature of e-ink. The more light in your environment, the better. They only look more awesome. So you can take this to the beach and actually see it. Try doing that with your Kindle Fire HDX tablet. So inside we have 4 gigs of storage. Given the fact that ebooks are quite small, they range usually from 100 to 300K. That means a lot of books on this. It has a magnesium alloy frame. So, Kindles, they've never felt unsturdy. They're kind of actually a little bit on the rugged side, but they've been a little bit plasticky. This one feels a little bit less plasticky. You still get that soft touch finish on the back, except for that one glossy top section of the kind of prismatic design on there. Single band Wi-Fi on this, 2.4 gigahertz, because, well, I guess speed really isn't an issue here. You're only using it to download books, which again are quite small, and magazines, that sort of thing. You get a USB cable in the box. With this guy, you do not get a charger. So you can either use your cell phone charger, that's what I do most of the time, or you could plug it into your computer to charge it as well. Speaking of charging, Amazon claims 6 weeks of use on a charge. That's at reading at about 1/3 brightness and 30 minutes a day. So based on your own reading habits, you can do the math there. The Paperwhite is estimated at the same usage for 8 weeks. So a bit lower here, but still phenomenal. And that's another one of the nice things about e-ink readers. Say you're an avid reader, you're probably still going to go 3 weeks, maybe even a month before you have to charge this. It's pretty darn good. It's not like one of those, oh my God, I have to charge it every day. I took it to the gym, it has no juice. It's not going to happen very often here, that's for sure. Doing the math on this guy, from 300 ppi at 6 inches, computes out to 1440 by 1080 resolution. So for those of you who care about such things as that, there it is. I think the pixel density at ppi is really the more important thing here, and the sharpness of the text. Speed is fine on this with Kindles. That's really not much of an issue. The thing that changes your perception of speed probably is the refresh of e-ink. Speaking of refresh, you will see every several page turns the display refreshing itself. If you don't like ghosting, though this doesn't have a whole lot of ghosting on it, you can actually set it to refresh every page. Those of you who hate seeing the e-ink refresh, you obviously can leave it the way it is and let it do it not so very often. Text features are the same as always here, and you can see the page turn speeds, they're fine. And the ghosting here I've gone through, not bad at all. Same features as other Kindles, a variety of font sizes there. You can see I've actually got it quite small. Your font choices are pretty much the same, line spacing, margins, basic stuff like that. You've got dictionary pre-installed on this, so even if you've side-loaded a book, you can tap and hold on a word and get a definition for it. You don't have to be online for that. There's also translation provided by Bing. You do have to have Wi-Fi turned on and connected to an access point if you want to use that feature. We've got X-ray for books here. This is a side-loaded book, so we don't have any X-ray. And if you press and hold, you can also add a note, share this, put a highlight on, or more. And if it's a single word, you get the dictionary lookup option as well. And bookmarking is as simple as tapping in the upper right-hand corner. You see I have a bookmark set. By the way, that's a lot easier once you don't have a bezel there anymore. It was always kind of hard to get your finger wrapped around the bezel and tap on the very corner there to activate that. Another neat thing is if you swipe up, check it out. No more having to guess at location numbers or look at the table of contents. We have a slider here with preview of the page, so it makes it a lot easier to find stuff. So that's one of the few new software features that we have right here. And given the high resolution of the display, these are actually perfectly readable here. So if you're trying to find something, chances are you'll have luck. It also keeps track of all your highlights as a standard Kindle feature too. And it will sync books across devices. If you're reading something that you have bought from the Amazon store, then it'll sync across devices as well. So you can pick up where you left off on your smartphone when you're on the bus or whatever, just in case you didn't take this with you. So yes, it's one of the most expensive e-ink readers on the market, but if you have the money and you are a dedicated reader, and you know who you are, you're the folks who've been buying the Paperwhites, the Kobo Auras, all those out there, it's certainly well worth the price. For the battery life, for how easy it is on the eyes, for how sharp it looks, even graphic novels look pretty decent on this, even though I still think that color LCDs are nicer for things like graphic novels and comic books, but it's a pretty good proposition, and oh my God, the hardware page turn buttons are finally back. I know there are those of you who absolutely adore those. It's just a press and a hold, a little haptic feedback right there, and I want to go back. Works just fine. So that's the Kindle Voyage. It's the thinnest, the lightest, and the best screened e-ink reader you can get from Amazon and from most everybody. The Kobo Aura comes pretty close too. But Amazon, of course, has their huge ecosystem of books that you can get, their lending library, and even their subscription service now for books. So if you're an avid reader, it's easy to recommend this if you're okay with the price. I'm Lisa from Mobile Tech Review. Be sure to visit our website for the full written review, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel.